All right, I want you guys to put your hands together.
Let's go. How's everybody doing, all right? Woo! We're right here, people. We don't have to be out. How's it going?
From New York. I'm doing fantastic. Are you having a lot of fun in Raleigh?
Raleigh's always a good time. I was just here actually 2 weeks ago. My daughter had a archery tournament, so I was out here watching and supporting her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to be here again another 2 weeks, which is awesome. It's great.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm skipping a jump for me. I live in Orlando, so.
Do you come to North Carolina a lot?
It's been a while, but interesting how I was, like I said, 2 weeks ago I was here. But,
Fantastic.
yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get a chance to do, Comic-Cons and stuff like that. It's just because of the fact that we get to see fans, people that have maybe never know who the hell we are or the hell I am. But it's always fun to get out there and do that. So
That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome, kind of connect with the crowd. If you guys have any questions, like I said, the microphone's right up there. Don't be shy. Because we're going to talk about food.
Go ahead and ask anything, and I will answer as smart or as dumb as I can. So feel free.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's Paul. I'm really glad you're here. This is something that, it's going to sound really stupid, but I got to ask. My grandmother really likes the Family Feud,
Gotcha.
and I always hear you announce it. Is that one take and they loop it, or do you show up every day?
Yeah, no, I did. I think it was like 3 seasons I did, and the very first time, because they were shooting in Orlando, Florida. Actually, Steve Harvey was there, and they wanted to have somebody, be an announcer, and they got me to be the announcer. I actually was in a studio booth for about 30 minutes, and then they wanted me to be on stage. But with Steve, a lot of his banter, it goes right to the game, and then he banters a little bit. So we tried it where I was actually on stage with him. I'm like, Steve Harvey, and it just goes right into it. So they were just kind of like, well, you just say that and that's it. We don't need you on the stage. I was like, that's cool, because I did 30 minutes maybe in a studio, and then they just looped it the second season. If there was a special thing that I had to do, because there was like some sort of giveaway or something, I came in the studio, 10 minutes later, recorded it, and it was done. Take the check and run.
Okay, that's tall. Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
That's good. So I'm kind of curious as to back when you and Backstreet Boys were out, how much, okay, hear me out. How much of that rivalry was real and how much was it like the media being like, oh, well, they're two Luke Herman fans?
Oh, like if I just hate them? Yeah, I hate them.
There's a video of you making out with Nick Carter. Like,
Once. Lance gave me all the tips. He was my best friend, I can say that. You know what's so funny? They hyped it up and made it look like this whole big thing, but the reality of it is, and the down to reality is pretty funny, is the only rivalry or anything that ever happened was Chris was mad at AJ because they had a mutual girlfriend basically at the same time. But it was like I think it was like Chris was dating someone, and when they broke up, like maybe about a year, a couple months later, AJ was dating. So that's the only thing that was kind of like whatever, but we've all kind of been friends. We've never really had a chance to really hang out until we did, actually a few of us did a show, a movie called Dead Seven, which was on Sci-Fi. And it was the weirdest thing because it was like this boy band boot camp per se. And they were all sitting in a room like talking to each other about, oh, I remember this, I remember that. And then I was like, okay, well, we definitely sang better harmonies, AJ, so shut your mouth. And then we would play each other a cappella things that we've done. It was really funny. I wish it was the fly on the wall watching us being old farts basically. But it was never that way. We've never, me and Nick, I always bust chops. We were just on Twitter and I even texted him and said, hey, I said, get ready because someone's going to start cursing me out right now. Because they were talking about who's better, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. And I even said, Nick, do you believe this, that they think you're better than me? That's what I said. Obviously, that oh, you're a jerk, Joey. The BSB fans, the armies are going to get you and stuff. Like, these are jokes, people, relax. We're old now. We're in our 40s, some of us, if we're crying out loud. So it's one of those things where, yeah.
Don't mess with BTS fans. They're savage.
I know, but that's why I do it, just to bust some chops.
I don't even talk to them. I'm like, I'm just not gonna say this.
No, but I like the same thing. Like I said, me and Nick have done a lot of things together. We're all hopefully in the future doing some more stuff that we want to do and some more film stuff. So we've been still collaborating, still getting things together. It's been fun though. It's been actually a lot of fun to work with them now because there is no. They made it a friendly competition, I think, or just in general. I mean, you got to think about it. If you are a manager or a management team and you own or manage the top boy bands, Of course you're going to want that friendly rivalry because it's just going to keep going back and forth, and more people are going to listen to music, more people are going to do that, and buy tickets. So for the management team, they're like, yay, more money. So that's the way they look at it. For us, we were like, whatever, I like to dance and perform. We're 17, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How's it going?
Good. She kind of was like taking the question I was going to ask, but it's okay.
Make it up.
But, well, I was going to say that, like, as a fan of both you guys, I'm really happy that you guys are all friends and that it's not some weird rivalry thing, so
Right.
I appreciate that. So I was going to ask you about the sci-fi movie because that was super cool seeing, like, just everybody.
Like, what was that?
Yeah, so I was just curious how all of that came together.
Yeah, Nick came up with this idea. He wrote a script. He sent it to me, gave it to me. He's like, hey, I'd love for you to read the script. I always, enjoyed your acting. I always wanted, to do something involved with us and maybe some other guys from other bands. He gave me the script. It was like a novel, and I didn't read it. And then he asked me a week later, did you read it? I said, no. He asked me like 2 weeks later. No, I didn't read it yet. Sorry, Nick. And then finally I started reading. I said, it's a good story, the idea, but it's a lot of things. Like, yeah, I'm taking the first stab at writing. So I'm like, there's a lot of direction, a lot of this, a lot of that. Let's try to tone it down, or let's get it to something. So sci-fi let me do it. And believe it or not, even Nick coughed up like half of the budget because he wanted to get this thing made. So he was like, I'm going to use, I'll deal with the production company and also sci-fi, but I want this thing to get made. I'm going to put half of my own money into it. So we did this, actually at San Diego Comic-Con, we went up there. Literally it was like almost like last minute kind of thing. They drew up a panel. It was me, Nick, AJ. I don't know if Howie was there or not. I think it was Howie, just the three of us. I think Nick went up there. Place was packed, had no idea. We still didn't even know what the hell the script was all going to be 100% about. Had no idea where we were shooting. And they were like, so you guys are doing a film? I'm like, yeah. We just pulled it out of our butts and just started talking about it, really. And literally though, like 2 or 3 weeks later, all right, we're shooting in Butte, Montana, we're doing this, we're doing that. They started rewriting the script, and like I said, it was like this boy band boot camp. We had, Eric from Motown, Howie, and it was really interesting to see because, like we said, we were sitting there talking, and Howie all of a sudden looked and was like, how did you guys get together? Like, he had no idea. So we would have these conversations on certain things of like, certain ins and outs, something about talking about Lou Pearlman and how he said the same things to us and he said the same things to them. You guys are gonna be great. And it just kept that friendly battle, and kept us away from each other. So we wouldn't talk, but meanwhile, we would not get problems with them.
Right. Also, my friend Portia says that she hopes you're doing well and that you're fine as fuck.
I will tell my parents. They gave me, this is what you got. No fillers.
I've been going to cons for 10 years and I'm still nervous just to get up and ask
Oh,
a question. This is my first time. I actually saw you on Whose Line Is It Anyway when I was catching up a few days ago, and I was wondering, do they actually tell you anything beforehand? They're just like, hey,
One of my friend's kids, still, they don't tell me shit. Literally nothing. It's all right. And that's the thing. Yeah. Well, I've known Wayne from high school. Actually, I've known Wayne Brady for a very long time. And the funny thing about that is he wanted me to do it. And I went up there, and usually when they have a celebrity, they'll sit you there, and then they'll sing about you. He's like, well, I want you to do it.
It was great to watch you sing.
Oh my gosh, can I make this up right now? And I haven't done that improv like that in a while, especially with music. So it was like, the guy sits down, and they don't even, usually they say, where you're from, what are your hobbies, what is this? They didn't even say that. What's your name? And you go to college, and that was it. And I'm like, okay, great, I have nothing to run off of. So we, it's always interesting, because I've always done a lot of improv back in the day, like I said, with Wayne. And those things are always fun, because you never know what's going to happen. Same thing when I did Practical Jokers. I don't know what the heck is going on. It was never prepped. They yelled in my ear and tell me to, say I crap my pants in front of everybody. And I did it. Not literally.
Yeah.
I said it. You're welcome. How's it going?
Name's Ben, huge fan.
Thank you.
I actually remember watching the world premiere of Pop music video and the making of and all of that. Like at midnight on MTV when I was like 14. But I remember your foot getting run over. And I don't know if it broke your foot or what it did.
It was my knee and my leg. There's a thing called a pop-up on a stage where now they're like hydraulics and all this other stuff, and it's all computer, but it used to be manually, which there were weights. And the guy would be underneath the stage and he would release the lever, and literally we would see like Michael Jackson all the time, so pop up on stage and they land, and you can get pretty good height on that. And what happened was during a rehearsal, one guy underneath the stage was helping out somebody else because the thing slipped and crushed his finger. So they broke his finger, so the guy on my thing went over to help him. And I was like, all right, cool. And if you stand straight up, the stage is like here, basically. And I could pick myself and get out of it. So I was like, I'll just hop out of it since the guy's not there. So as I pushed down, it released the lever. As I went to lift my legs up, thank God my hands were not in anything underneath, but my leg, thank God I'm a big guy. I have a big ass leg. But it got caught, and any of the other guys, it probably would have been crushed, but my knee blew up to no end. I sliced it open, I would get staples basically in my leg. And then literally, right when that happened, I had to go shoot the pop video.
Yeah.
And Wade actually took over for me for a lot of the dancing.
Yep.
They dyed his hair, they colored his goatee. He barely grow one, but he colored it in. And yeah, and a lot of that video was more Wade than me, just due to the fact I could not walk on it. I tried to hobble, I tried to walk it off when it first happened. I dropped before, and we were actually rehearsing for the tour in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So we're from New Orleans, flew to LA, shot the video, went back to New Orleans to rehearse, and I just sat on the stool the whole time, miserable because I couldn't dance. And then when the first performance came though, it's not fun. I basically just wrapped up my leg as tight as I could and hobbled out on stage for about a week and a half until finally slowly started healing. As I keep rambling my mouth, what was the question that you were asking?
How long it took you out? The question was how long it took you out of performing, was my question.
It took me about 2 weeks, but here's the problem. I never stopped performing.
Yeah.
I literally was high. I rested as much as I could. I actually, thank goodness, I did a lot of rehearsals before I hurt my leg. Knew where I had to be, and then I would sit there for the rehearsals, and then when we actually did the show, stupid story that I have, I was always relying on one leg because I was hopping on the right, but we're dancing a lot, so I could not really put a lot of pressure on my right leg. So when I relied on my left leg decided to get a muscle spasm and cramp up while I was trying to dance. So at the very end, we're doing bye, 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 no joke. I kid you not, this is my dumb idiot self doing this. As I started to move, this leg could not put any weight, and this leg cramped up, so I did this, and I went. I had to pick up each leg because I couldn't move it. I look like such an idiot on stage. But yeah, that's actually happened. I panicked as literally at the last number, both legs cramped up. I couldn't move one, the other one. I was just like, that's it. I'm just gonna fall on the floor. But yeah, it took a while, but it's one of those things. The show must go on. I've done many things where I've slipped and fell, and you just gotta keep on going and just go, hey, look, I'm a jerk, and I'm an idiot. I fell. It's okay. I'm normal too.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, my name's Sarah, and I want to thank you for being the soundtrack to my childhood, as I'm sure you were for many people.
My kids, thank you. They get to go to college.
Glad we could be there for you. You were definitely a part of a lot of important moments in our lives, and I just want to know, what does that feel like to know that you were there for first kisses and dances and proms and all of those huge wedding songs?
You can do it. You know what? It's weird. It's very flattering. It's very odd. I don't know. It just feels that way because I think of it the other way around too. Where when I was younger, I still do have role models and people I looked up to, and I'm a huge Christopher Reeves fan, and he actually came out after, believe it or not, after he had his accident. He came with his wife and his kid to one of our concerts. And that's one of the things too, I'm always just like, he came up and I just had nothing to say. I just stood there, everybody looked at me and I'm like, what? Because I was that, just interesting because that's one of my role models. I looked up to him regardless, no matter what. And it's always interesting when people come up to me like, hey, you helped me out of this, or you helped me through this times, or, I just had a great, just like you said, that you were my history of my, my high school times, and middle school, I used to listen to you. I'm like, damn, I'm old. But, it's weird. It really is, because it's like, we never thought of it that way. We never really thought of, okay, well, we're going to become role models, we have to keep a clean-cut image. What we did is what we did, and there was no like, we need to be the bad person or keep a clean-cut image per se. It's just what we did. And I think my parents would have probably kicked my butt if I went out of line in a sense like that. We always kept our feet on the ground, our heads, out of the clouds, but we always, we had fun in what we did, but we made sure, and it's, like I said, it's really weird when people do say that. But it's very flattering. It's very odd that, NSYNC in general as a whole was such a big part of a lot of people's lives at that time in the 90s. Holy cow, it's old. What are we in, 2018? Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, but again, yeah, it's very flattering, but it's like one of those weird, it makes me, I don't know, it's a very humble thing. I don't know how to handle it. I'm not like, oh, I know, I'm good, thank you. I helped everybody in the world, peace in the land. But no, it's weird, but thank you. How you doing?
Hi, big fan, and I just wanted to say thank you for everything. And
No problem, thank you.
love your relationship with the IJ guys. Just curious if you have any upcoming things going on with them.
Those jerks. I've done some stuff with the Practical Jokers, if you do know, and that's my claim to fame now, I guess, for the normal, this generation. First was, oh my gosh, you did NSYNC, you're really great, I love you in that, and then it was, oh, I love you in Dance with the Stars, and Hannah Montana. Now it's either Robot Chicken or Practical Jokers. Yay, I made it to keep them. You know, it's cool because they just shot a film not too long ago. Am I supposed to talk about it? Probably not, but I'm going to anyway. So I did a little small cameo in the film that they shot. Maybe it's going to be coming out, I think, next year at some point. I still do stuff with them for Practical Jokers After Party as well. We shot 4 new episodes. I believe that's going to be airing in the next week or so, I believe. And then I'm shooting another 4 with them in October. So we actually do, I'm actually contracted to do 8 this year and another 8 next year as well. So I'll still be working with the Jokers. Still talking about trying to do like a full episode. I was like, I want to get punished too. I said, I want to do some stupid stuff. Since I only did it once. But that's why I started with that one. But I want to do more stuff like that. But they're great guys. What you see is what you get out of them. They are genuine guys. I've never seen a group of guys in a long time hustle like that. They always got their hands on something. It's crazy because it's either whether they're doing the podcast, Murr's got his book, Sal's doing stand-up, Joe wants to direct, Q's just Q. But it's crazy how everybody has their niche, but they're always working, they're always doing something. That's the same thing with the Practicals After Party. We're always trying to find room or time for them for us to shoot because they're always nonstop.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Joey.
Hello.
My name's Katrina, and I'm so sorry to do this. My friend Sandy, she literally bought a ticket here. She bought a photo shoot with you, and her mother broke her knee, and she can't be here because she's flying out to go see her mom. I know. So I have a question from her, and if it's okay, I'd like to record it because I'm going to send it to her. And then I have a question for you from me.
Shoot.
So, first one from her is, Sandy would like to know, she said that Backstreet Boys and New Kids on the Block.
Who?
They do cruises all the time that sell out for their fans. Would NSYNC consider doing something like that?
You know what, a few of us have talked about it. I don't know if all 5 of us would actually even do that at the moment, but we've actually talked about it. And it's amazing because who doesn't like money? Let's be real. I mean, let's be honest. It's just one of those things, but I think it's a timing wise, and I think it's a matter of figuring out. And since a lot of us, like I've done even the IJ cruises and stuff like that. I don't know if like even JC, I know Lance has, but I don't think Chris or JC or even Justin have ever done a cruise thing like that. And I think maybe just to try to have them either check it out or find out whether they want to do it. Because it looks like a blast. It looks like, honestly, a whole lot of fun. Like I said, it's like why not hang out? Let's play music. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know, people are calling bingo numbers now and stuff. Because it's 232. I think it's kind of funny. But you know, I would never say never, but you know, you never know. I think I would love to do something like that. It'd be kind of fun.
Okay. And then the question for me, because you mentioned now, yay, welcome to geekdom. So, and you don't have to say you like one or the other, but do you lean towards DC or Marvel?
It's hard. I had a discussion with somebody earlier because I'm a huge Superman fan. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm a full-fledged DC person. I do like the Marvel universe. You know, I like all the different characters, whether it be Spider-Man or Captain America, but also, of course, me, I'm just huge and devoted to Superman. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong, Marvel's great. I like it too. Trust me. I watch all the movies.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No problem.
Hey.
Hello.
I'm Dixie, and I've been a huge fan since college. Remember dancing and singing to Bye 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 in my apartment with my friends.
Ain't nothing wrong with that?
No. And it was funny because a few years ago I was watching with my daughter Hannah Montana, and I was like, oh my God, there's Joey on Hannah Montana. So I just wondered what was a memorable experience from being on Hannah Montana.
Well, I wore a baked potato outfit. It was this gold vest and pants that were horrible. But the funny part, I actually told the story about this earlier, was how I even got on that show is I was doing Dance with the Stars at the time with Billy Ray Cyrus. And Billy Ray is obviously the father of Miley. And I was talking to him, we were just chit-chatting, and all of a sudden I was like, yeah, my daughter's a huge fan. He's like, oh man, you should come on out and show, and that'd be fun, and hang on, I think I got something for you. And I'm not even kidding, not even a week later, he's like, here's a script. This is the character you're gonna play, we already have it written. I was like, that was quick. And I have $1 million? And it was so weird, because it literally was like that next week I was shooting on it and stuff, and it was one of those things. And the weird thing about that is, speaking of which, as I talk a lot, there's the girl who played my daughter in the actual show. Was really funny because she was almost around, a little bit older than my actual daughter is. But the funniest thing is when we just got the Star on the Walk of Fame, we had this pop-up store. and we had a little after party right after the star, and all of a sudden the one that played my daughter happened to be there because her dad does like the paintings of the star. I don't know, it was really weird how the connection went, but it was really cool. I was like, well, hang on a second. And I stood next to my daughter, next to the one that played my daughter, and took a picture of both of them. And it was funny because they're the same height, even though the other one's like 20 something, I'm like, the other one's like 17. I'm like, oh gosh, colorism, biatch. So yeah, so they're gonna have pretty girls, and we'll put them on lockdown with shotgun.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, I got 2 questions for
Go
you.
for it, Big Stash.
The first one is, what was the funniest moment happened on stage while you was on doing NSYNC?
The funniest moment?
Yeah.
There's been a few of those. When you do the brain farts, those are fun because everybody's like dancing and you're all together, and then all of a sudden one person, which I've done before, where everybody's dancing, and then you're over here. And then all of a sudden everybody just turns and looks at me and goes, "You idiot, get over here." And you're like, "Oh, okay." I fell and busted my butt once, right? The only time that I ever get to really sing a solo, which doesn't happen often because Justin and JC take all the damn solos. Not bitter at all. But it was really funny. I was singing the song Celebration. Celebrate good time. I was like, oh my God, it's my big moment. And we had these ramps that come down on both sides. So here I come, walking down. And I'm supposed to sing the line. There's a party going. I'm walking in. Whoop! I'm looking at the ceiling. Like I'm like, what just happened? The floor was wet and I just slipped and busted my butt. And so what I did was I just started kicking in the air and singing. As I'm on the floor. So, you know, again, fake it till you make it. That's what I did. But it was highly entertaining. And yeah, there's been times I've done that. I've ripped my pants. I've split them before. You just gotta clench your butt cheeks and kind of hubble up. Good times.
And the second question is, who's your favorite Impractical Joker?
Who's the what?
Who's your favorite Impractical Joker?
Oh, I can't. That's biased. People get mad. It's funny that you say that because I'm not even kidding you. I will like text Merv like, "Hey man, what's going on?" 2 minutes later, Jerry goes, "What? You don't like me? You don't talk to me? I like you." Like, what the hell? I literally have to text everybody like, "Merv, how are you doing? Joe, are you okay? Q, that's good to see you." And Sal, don't cry. So it's like, it's the weirdest thing. I love all of them in their own respect. Meaning, if I know if I'm going to go out and party a lot, I would take probably Merv. If I'm going to hang out and chill and have like a couple of drinks and shoot the crap, I'd go with probably Q. Sal definitely likes to go out. I've gone out with Sal a bunch of times, and Joe will do anything. Which is crazy because he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he does know nothing, and he's just high on life, and it's amazing to watch because that guy will go until like 4 in the morning when we did the Impractical Joker cruise, and I'm like, no sip of alcohol whatsoever, and you're up this late, I would die. Not saying, you know, drinking's good, but keeps you awake. Sometimes.
But I would like to hang out with Mo and Sal.
They're good guys.
I want to see the ferret.
You know, sorry?
I want to see the ferret.
The ferret?
Yeah.
He looks like a ferret in person. He does. You put a ferret next to him, it looks like the ferret, don't joke. He's always good about his teeth too, if you ever watch the show. And I'm not kidding you, every time he eats, he brushes his teeth like right after. He's very, I don't know what, but like ridiculously anal. Anytime he opens up his mouth, he'll brush his teeth. Brush his teeth, make sure. Weird. Hey, he's got good teeth though.
Does he still have those piercings?
I don't know. I didn't check. It's not an everyday question. Hey, let me see your neck, dude.
Hello.
How you doing?
Me and my parents watch Impractical Jokers all the time, and we were wondering, how did you meet them?
It's interesting. I was just on Twitter, and someone said, actually tweeted me and said, "Hey, by the way, they're talking about you." I'm like, "Who's they?" And I started watching the show prior to, and like, oh, the 2 guys from Practical Jokers, Sal and Q, because they have a podcast called What Say You. And when they were talking about like comic books and stuff like that, like they always do, but Q started talking about Superman symbols, how he has a tattoo on his arm, the Superman symbol. And he goes, I know a few people, Bon Jovi, Shaquille O'Neal, and Joey Fatone have Superman tattoos. And it was just odd that they knew that. But then they started talking about how they were actually big NSYNC fans and all the songs and all the things they started talking about. And you're kind of like, oh, I had no idea. So that's literally how we got a conversation going. And then the weird thing was that Sal actually went to college with 2 of my cousins in Staten Island. So I have a lot of family that still live in Staten Island, so we actually knew a lot of mutual friends throughout the whole circle, and we clicked very well because, I don't know, it's like, we all have cousins that kind of resemble, like Joe resembles one of my cousins, Steve, And it was so funny because we were at a party, my cousins came over and stuff, and all of a sudden I FaceTimed Joe, and he looked at him, he goes, "Hey, you handsome bastard, look at you." It was very similar, so it was really funny. But they're nut jobs.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How's it going?
And Impractical Jokers, would you ever consider doing any of the challenges?
Hell yeah. I would love to. It all a matter of time, and I'm sure they're starting to know me a lot more now and what my strengths and weaknesses are, so they'd probably put it against me, I'm sure. Definitely sure they would. But yeah, I'd love to do more. I would love to do, like I said, a whole episode actually, to where, you know, if I had to do a punishment, why not?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
So NSYNC was my first concert. I was 8
I'm
years
sorry.
old. I actually traveled to Germany. To see
Sweet.
you guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my parents are amazing. Anyways, so you've done a lot in your career and a lot of amazing things, and thank you. For the future, what is one thing that you really want to do in your career? What's maybe one gig that you would like to get, or like a role?
I don't know, for me it's always like, I love to do more acting, love to do more challenging roles, just fun stuff. I'm not hugely like, oh, I'm a serious actor, I'm gonna be serious. But I mean, those are kind of fun things that kind of breaks through a lot of different things that you can pull that off. Because a lot of times, I mean, not to say that everybody can be funny, but there's a lot of funny things and timing and stuff like that. And a lot of comedians try to go the dramatic route. And does that work for them? Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. You know, so it's like, be funny, don't be serious. But I love to do more stuff like that. I think it's just, I don't know, I love all aspects of entertainment, whether it be singing, whether it be dancing. I started doing a lot of voice characters now. I'm doing one for the Street Harvey Kids, which is on Netflix, the DreamWorks thing that it's not coming out this season, but like season 2, you'll see a lot more of us. There's a boy band in it, and it's me, Drew Lachey, Joey McIntyre, and Sean Stockman from Boyz II Men. So we're kids, and it's hilarious. Some of the songs, they're the weirdest songs ever, because they're very wordy. But I've seen, I play J-Frog, is my name is a character that I play, so it comes out in season 2. Crush 3, I think is the name of the group. So these interesting things. But, you know, just, again, for me, what I love about Sky's the Limit, but the cake job for me, which I would love, because you never see these people half the time because they get paid and they go on vacation. I want Pat Sajak's job. I want William Fortune. You don't see that dude anywhere, do you? He just does his job, he's gone for a few months. That would be awesome. You know, those kind of, I'd love to do like a game show. I'd love to have like a longevity like kind of game show, whether it be Price is Right, whether it be, you know, something like that. I would love to do something like that.
That's awesome. Wasn't there singing bee or spelling bee or singing bee that you did?
I did the singing bee, yes, probably before you were born. I'm teasing you. These are the jokes. Some people don't even know what the singing bee was. I didn't even do it.
Did you Jeopardy?
I don't know. Oh, you kidding me? I can't do that. There's no way I'll do Jeopardy because I can't pronounce half that crap. Alex is dope. I'm like, Alex Trebek, you take that job. I'm not taking that job. No way. Yeah, it's great.
Hi, I'm Shani. Huge NSYNC fan. I think for me the rivalry was very serious, and I defended you guys very much against BSB. And my sister was a Lance fan, and I'm a Joey fan. So.
I appreciate that. You chose wisely. Thank you. You chose career.
So, you know, I went to all your guys' tours except the first one, and you guys performed at the Olympics, you performed at the Super Bowl, you did all the MTV VMA performances. So what was the biggest deal performance that you think you did as NSYNC?
There was a bunch actually. You know, over the years you start to do certain things and you kind of just take a step back and go, wow, that was pretty amazing. You know, one of the ones I definitely remember, of course, was Super Bowl, where we did it with, you know, Britney, Aerosmith, Nelly, and Mary J. Blige, which was awesome. It was one of the first times MTV actually ever did the Super Bowl. It was the first time they had fans running on the field, and then they do it every year now. So fans are everywhere. That was amazing. Gosh, there's just way too many. One of the other ones I thought was cool, we were doing stuff for the Tarzan soundtrack. And Phil Collins wrote, I guess, the soundtrack, and we were supposed to just go in and do one of the songs called Trash the Camp. And we thought we were just gonna go in and sing these vocals and leave. We walked in and then Phil Collins was sitting right there, we're like, hi dude. That's awesome. He's like, yeah, he goes, and we thought, okay, maybe he's gonna produce it. He's like, yeah, but I'm gonna sing it with you, let's go. And he goes in the booth with us and we're like, you're gonna sing with us? Phil Collins? All right. So that was one of the surreal ones too. I mean, there's a lot of interesting ones like that. You know, performed with Celine Dion as well, and it's one of those weird things. Performing with Michael Jackson was really surreal. That was another one too. We did stuff where we performed at the Icon show that we had, and it was us and the Jackson 5. And we did Dancing Machine. I think that was probably the last time he ever performed with his brothers. And that was interesting for us because it was the last time that we ever performed with Michael and his brothers, which was really cool. Really weird and surreal.
Thank you.
You know,
Hi.
how you doing?
I'm Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
I've been a fan like my whole life probably. I even had all of your hit clips. If everybody
I'm
remembers.
sorry. So that big fan, first time caller, with the big clips?
Yeah, I had all the hit clips. I was wondering, you said your favorite was Superman, and I'm also a big fan of Superman. Who's your favorite Superman?
Wow. Chris Reeves, man. I mean, I just have to say Chris. I'm partial to Henry though, because Henry's a good friend of mine. I've known Henry, the little tidbit about him, which he was a little skinny and scrawny. Now he's a big, buff looking good dude. We did a movie called Little Red Riding Hood. Horrible movie. Where I played the wolf and he played the huntsman. And we literally had this little scene, but he was so skinny in this movie if you've ever seen it. It's amazing. His head is ginormous and his body's like this. And I've known Henry, and Henry actually was supposed to do Superman Returns. He was supposed to actually be Superman in that film, and he didn't get the part. He was devastated at first by it. He says, but, you know, he's like, I think they're doing another one. It's like, oh, cool, well, good luck. And then literally about a couple years later, he did that. And I was like, dude, they couldn't have picked a better person. Because I think he does a really good job. Henry does. I think so.
Have you seen Smallville?
I have.
That's the best.
That is a good one, too. Yeah. True.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Michael Rosenbaum's my man, though, too.
He's my favorite.
He's awesome. Lex, oh, he's great.
Hi.
Hello?
My name is Christine. I don't have cable, so I don't have HD TV, so I've
That happens.
actually seen a lot of My Family Recipe Rocks.
Awesome.
On that show, you kind of join the family in a weird way. Could you tell me a little bit about that process? It seems like you're in there and then your family.
Well, it's weird because we do, when we first did, there's a show called My Family Recipe Rocks, and what we do in a nutshell, if you've never seen it, is we actually went to people's homes. Did about three seasons in this. Went to people's homes, everyday people, and whether it had been a recipe handed down from generation to generation, or something that they cooked up throughout the years, or something that they feed their kids, we literally go to their homes, they break down the recipes like a chef would, and we put it on the website and put it up there. But a few times we've had people get very nervous because they're not celebrities, they don't know what the hell they're doing, they get nervous, this and that. So one of the first times though, to be a real family was an old couple that they're like, all right, so every time we cook, we drink. Well, okay, what do we have, like a glass of wine? No, we do shots. Manny was the guy's name. I remember this was an old Jewish couple in Miami. And I'm like, okay, so they get those little orange juice glasses. This dude fills it up with vodka, pulls it out of the freezer, fills it up, hands it to me, hands it to his wife, hands it to me. Cheers, great. We do one. I'm like, that's great. All right, what do we cook? He goes, we do another one. So by the third or fourth shot, I'm hammered now on this side, going, oh, this is great. Oh, my friends, man, we're cooking. But it became drink fest on certain shows because they were so nervous, some of these people. I'm just like, are you nervous? Like, yeah, do you drink first of all? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, have a drink, have a shot. And you see them just relax a little bit and open up. And it was so much fun. Like I said, we get to we're literally in these people's homes. And we had, there's been very interesting ones. We've had where the one time the husband and the wife wanted to have a competition. Meaning, they were literally just setting this show. It's like, no, this is our show. You cook and we eat and we tell you how good it is and we move on. It's like, no, we want to have battle with each other.
I remember that one.
Sure, yeah. And they literally were arguing on camera. Well, this is bad. I'm like, holy cow, this is really happening. So it's good TV, people. But it was a blast. I mean, I always still want to bring it back. The network was called Liberal Network, and that whole network went down. So all the shows went to like ABC affiliates, and they just play reruns. But I always want to bring that back because I thought it was just a great show to show people's cultures, people's family. I mean, we did from baba ganoush to different types of flank steak to vegan to it was so many different things, but it was awesome. I loved it.
Thank you.
Well,
hey, what's up?
How's it going?
Good. I'm Trey. I was just wanting to know if there was any truth to the rumors that you went in sync shot for Attack of the Clones.
There is a bit of truth to that. It's so funny because we've gotten asked so many times, and I did an interview not too long ago through Star Wars, I guess their official website. But years ago, when they were doing episode 1, George Lucas was mixing the audio at that time. We happened to be performing in California. I can't remember exactly where. It wasn't that far from where he was. His daughter was a huge fan of ours, so he flew with her, got on a plane, landed, came straight to the show, and we're like, this is awesome. Who cares about your daughter? This is freaking George Lucas. Here backstage, even though we love you, we're like, but George. So we were talking and just, just shooting stuff up about editing and this and that. He's like, oh, you guys should come, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, that's great. So Rick McCallum, of course, who's the producer of Star Wars, a bunch of them, his, I guess, relative hooked us up, and we went to the Skywalker Ranch. We stayed overnight there. They're like, hey, they hooked us up, and we went and saw ILM, went to Industrial Light and Magic, saw all this stuff, and they were like, well, they're doing a lot of extra work right now. They're shooting extras, do a bunch of scenes. Do you guys want to do it? And we were like, there was me, my brother, I think JC, and Chris. Possibly Lance, I can't remember, it might have been Lance. And we all looked at each other like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, we'll put you, I'm like, get that guy, come on. Lo and behold, we go inside the room, I have a Padawan tail they glued to my hair. I had my hair really short at that time. I get the robe, they throw a lightsaber in my hand, we go in front of a big screen, and they're like, okay, well, this is the battle, the big battle that's going to be in the arena. For this, I think it was episode 2, the second one, the whole battle in that arena. So we had a fight, so we had to come up with some ideas. So me and my brother stand there with sticks, and we're going, boom, boom, boom. And I stopped and looked at him like, you idiot, stop making the freaking noise. Because you're going to see your mouth going the whole time. It's like, you look like idiots. What are you doing? 2 minutes later, George walks in. And he's standing there and goes, okay, that's cool, that's good. I was like, George Lucas just directed me. I don't care. He told me to stand there and move there. He directed me. So we did that scene, and there was another scene that we did where we were walking, and it was where Yoda and Obi-Wan were walking down the corridor, and Yoda's in that hovering thing. It's the dumbest thing ever, because he's short, he can't walk when he hovers. That little disc. So we were in the hallway too for that. Since we were SAG, we only signed a confidentiality form. People were fans were getting pissed off and they wrote letters, but people thought that the fans actually kicked us off the show, but that was not the case. It was because of the fact that we were SAG and they would have had to pay us SAG rights for that. And since we didn't do that, we only signed a confidentiality form, and we didn't sign on like we were actors, we were just extras, because a lot of the times they'll get people that work at the ILM studios to come in and be extras. They'll just throw them in because they're working on other stuff and they can just do it easily and they're not technically actors. So we kind of got booted off. But supposedly there is footage somewhere of us fighting, and they actually put us in the scene that they took us out. So yeah, what a kick to the nuts that was.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, we were in there.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Alicia.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, one, Batman's better.
Sure.
I have a tattoo on my arm. Got it on my 18th birthday. 2, you've always been my favorite member, ever. Like, ever.
I appreciate it.
Like, when I was like, who's your favorite? Joey. You look fit, Joey.
I appreciate it.
And my question is, you know how like sometimes women's like not necessarily break up, but like they all go their separate ways. How come you never decided to release like go solo?
For me, you know, it's so funny. I always started coming up with different songs and start writing and stuff, but I just never had the moment to actually go, okay, this is what I want to do as far as putting out a solo album. I love performing, but I love performing with other people. Meaning like I like performing with a group. I don't know, it's just weird for me in the sense of like, I don't mind singing solo at all. I always wanted to do something that would be fun like that, but for me, I'm not that type of like serious writer. Because I'll come up with some messed up lyrics. And we'll just go from there, and that's all. But yeah, I mean, I've always had the thought about doing it, and I always wanted to, but it never really, for me, it wasn't like, oh, I need to be an artist again, I need to be there. It's kind of hard when you've been at the level that NSYNC was, and try to go, I mean, especially, I mean, Justin did great for him, and what he's been doing now is even above and beyond that. I don't know if I would be able to pull that off, and fake it till I make it. But I think where my career is and where my life is at right now, I don't want to be on that level. Just because I actually have some sort of a life now. Meaning like I have kids, you know, I have that kind of thing. It's like, sometimes I do, I feel bad for celebrities that are like that because I knew, and I have been there where that's been, where you can't go to the bathroom. You literally have to have somebody with you, take you there, walk here, walk there, and Justin still has that. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, better you than me. I said, because I can go and take a walk down the street, yeah, people might recognize me, but it's not that kind of pandemonium, which is nice.
And my second question is, what's like your favorite song ever to perform? Like, ever?
Like ever?
Like ever. Like if someone took your picture right now.
Ever? Well, as for NSYNC, as far as the group is concerned though, I Thought You Knew. That was our first a cappella song that we ever learned together, and just the song itself is unbelievable. The chords of it are fantastic.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Last question.
Hello.
Hello.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm Vanessa. NSYNC was my favorite boy band. I liked Backstreet Boys, but right off the bat, I was like, NSYNC. My question is, how did you get the role in My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Like, was it something like you were like, maybe?
I said, I want that role, you're gonna give it to me. The weirdest thing is we were working and trying to have a conversation with Playtone, which is the production company that did My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And the people that own Playtone is a guy by the name of Gary Getzman and Tom Hanks, of course. You know Tom Hanks. So Tom, and we've talked to him with NSYNC about doing almost like a Beatles movie, like Help. And we've had conversations of like wanting to do something, and we tell him, hey, how about this idea? He'd be like, nah, or he'd pitch us an idea, and we're like, nah, I don't know. But we always kept in contact and wanted to do something, came very close. But out of nowhere, I went by the studio and by the offices where they were, and one of the women that works in that department we've been friends with in Atlanta hangs out with this girl, Wendy, and she goes, oh my gosh, they're doing this audition for a movie that I think you'd be perfect in, because you'd be perfect, like it's almost like an extra, but you're being part of like the family, but you're not really in it the whole time because it would go around your schedule with NSYNC. And I was like, well, whatever. He goes, well, they're auditioning right now, so here's the script. He goes, here's the sides, and why don't you just learn? I was like, right, give me the script. I learned the sides. I went there. Nia Bardolos, who was there, I sat down with her and the casting lady. They knew who I was in the sense of NSYNC. Casting the lady did not care, did not even like me in the least, but did not know my background was acting. So when I came in, I nailed it, kind of hit the audition. I left. The next day they called me and said, hey, we'd love you to be a part of it. I flew to Toronto, Canada. I was there for literally about 4 or 5 days when we shot. That was it. I was in and I was out. Worked around schedule. Didn't think, hey, Ian, we're going to kill you was funny. Came out in the movies, and then there you go. That's kind of how it happened. Really weird. Interesting how I got these weird films that happen to be that way, but that's literally how it happened.
Did you enjoy it? Like, was it a good movie?
Oh yeah, no, it was awesome. And it was really cool that we got a chance to do it, come back and do a second one 15 years later. Which is weird. We looked at each other like, oh man, everybody looks the same, but just gray. It's like, oh my gosh, it was amazing to see all the whole original cast come back and do the film again. So I haven't got married yet, so I'm waiting for that in 3. So hopefully maybe number 3 will work. Yes.
Thank you, big fan.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So are you signing any more today?
I'm going to be here today, of course, and tomorrow as well, yeah. So I'll be signing, smacking babies, kissing hands. Is that how it goes? Something like that. But yeah, I'll be here.
Awesome. So everyone go down, make sure to say hi, check him out, and thank you so much
Thank you.
for...
Appreciate it. No problem. Thank you, guys.